If you are tired of seeing criminals get away with murder, tired of hearing excuses for the wicked, then it's time to take action. Hit that subscription button now and stay in the loop with the Jamaica Young Police channel. We are not here to sugarcoat. We are here to expose the truth, bring justice, and make sure the real heroes get the recognition they deserve. Don't wait for the change. Be the change. Subscribe, like, and let's make some noise and hold those criminals accountable. Justice in action. Speak up. Crime must fall. And remember that we have go inside the description box and you'll see various links to various things for the Jamaica Young Police channel. JamaicaYoungPoliceChannel.com, where you see articles and stuff like that. Those who like to read, and we continue to give you guys exceptional material over here. So, moving on. Yes, welcome to the Jamaica Young Police channel. To our loyal viewers, subscribers, and Patreon member. At the channel, we are a group of law-abiding citizens who believe in the rule of law and respect the rights of every citizen, but not the ones who do not subscribe to such behavior. We do believe in and support preemptive strikes because they save lives. This is a logical conclusion because preemptive strikes save lives and prevent the further loss of lives. We are all about saving lives at this channel. We at the channel aid criminals with a passion and do not want them over here. We do not want your views, your subscriptions, your likes, or your comments. Please go elsewhere where the red carpet is waiting for you. Over here, we want you to go to prison or the departure lounge at Madden. Moving on to today's video. Yo, if you are tired of seeing criminals get away with murder, tired of hearing excuses for the wicked, then it's time to take action. Hit that subscription button now and stay in the loop with the Jamaica Young Police channel. We are not here to sugarcoat. We are here to expose the truth, bring justice, and make sure the real heroes get the recognition they deserve. Don't wait for the change. Be the change. Subscribe, like, and let's make some noise and hold those criminals accountable. Justice in action. Speak up. Crime must fall. And remember that we have go inside the description box and you'll see various links to various things for the Jamaica Young Police channel. JamaicaYoungPoliceChannel.com, where you see articles and stuff like that. Those who like to read, and we continue to give you guys exceptional material over here. So, moving on. Yes, today I'm going to let you listen to one of your favorite member of parliament, Angela Burke. Yeah, man. The daughter of Jamaica's former most wanted man, Tony Brown. Yeah, you're going to hear Angela Burke defend a top killer from Cockburn Pen. Because it's genetic. Her father was Jamaica's most wanted man and killer, Tony Brown. So only a fool would expect her at any point in time in her life to defend the police force. Remember, to her, her father was an hero because he was a criminal, and that's how the ascension in the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, that rise, that ascension, it's like royalty because of what her father, the crimes that her father has committed for the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, and she's the beneficiary and recipient of the same. So now she's an elected official. I don't know where in the world where you would have a man who was the most wanted man and his daughter become a lawmaker. Just let that make sense to me, especially in a place like Jamaica, and she's a lawmaker. Imagine that. We know that she is responsible for sending away one of the men who's responsible for killing Rifle and one British Muscle. Yes, Muscle, who lives in Canada. Angela Burke is the one that did it. So you have to understand that these people, the enemy within, So while the PNP criminal organization must be rejected by every decent Jamaican, in every war there comes a time when the enemy no longer hides in the shadow. They march in daylight, sit in parliament, wear orange, while smiling in the face of every citizen they are destroying. The enemy in Jamaica is the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization. That's a political party, a criminal syndicate in disguise, dedicated not to law and order, but to chaos, corruption and criminality. This is an organization hell-bent on protecting the very people who have made Jamaica unsafe. Murderers, rapists, drug traffickers, extortionists, scammers, dons, gunmen, and rear admirals of sexual perversion. Every immoral, unethical, depraved, and disgusting act that poison our society, the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization finds a way to excuse it, defend it, fund it, or worse, elevate it. And if you don't believe me, let's go back. Just look at the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization playlist on the channel, in which you're going to hear Mark Gummibeer Golden, Peter, Battyface, Bunting, and the others within the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization normalizing two men relationship and telling the men then happy anniversary. So that is like what they're implying. It's telling our young men to open up your body and take it like a girl. Yes, open up your body and take it like a girl. And we know that the body hole is not a sex organ, because we have to use language where YouTube, you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, I just saw it go. So Angela Brown Burke, the face of hypocrisy and criminal romanticism. So let's talk about Angela Brown Burke. Them say she's Dr. Angela Brown Burke, too, Member of Parliament and PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization stalwart. To the uninformed, she appears to be a champion of the people. But what she really represents is a legacy built on blood, bullet, and betrayal of the innocent. Her father, Anthony Tony Tiger Brown, was one of Jamaica's most wanted men from the 1970s into the early 1990s. A man feared across the island, whose name was synonymous with murder, extortion, and terror. It was her father who had killed another man by the name of Froggy Jard Flash that killed Ted Ogilvy, a decent, ethical, a moral inclined Jamaican who was working at the Ministry of Construction, and because this man refused to allow these criminals to get paid for work that they did not do, they murdered him. And the party, led by the late Michael Manley, hug them up and protect them and send Anthony, Tony, Tiger Brown and George Froggy Flash to Cuba to evade justice. That's why I would tell you the PNP is a criminal organization. And the day when both men were leaving, as I said, I'm from the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, the belly of the beast. The day when both men were leaving, if her husband, Paul Burke, remember, there was 4 persons along with Paul Burke inside the office. I have a family member who was on the compound the day when both men were leaving on the boat to go to Cuba. Paul Burke was instrumental in that logistic operation. So, and now, we are supposed to believe that his daughter, Tony Brown's daughter, Angela Brown Burke, a product of that legacy of criminality, murder, extortion and terror, is an impartial voice in matters of law enforcement. Give me a break. Only a fool, a political puppet, or someone suffering from historical amnesia would expect the daughter of a notorious outlaw to be pro-police. Her loyalty is not to law and order. Her loyalty is to her father's memory to the criminal culture that shaped her worldview, and to the political machine that rewarded her with power, not in spite of her father's crimes, but because of them. Let's be honest, Angela Brown Burke is genetically predisposed to despise the police, because to her, the police are the ones who hunted her father, her hero. But to the rest of us, to decent, hard-working Jamaicans, her father was a human parasite. Let me repeat myself. To the rest of us, decent, hard-working Jamaicans, her father, Tony Brown, was a human parasite, a ruthless criminal who lived far too long and ruined far too many lives. So the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization agenda: protect criminals, destroy the police. Ask yourself, when was the last time you saw a PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, politician, any one of them, speak passionately in defense of the police? You will never see that, because anytime that happens, you know that snow, we see Jamaica get ill the other day, snow will start to fall in Jamaica, because we'll be getting closer, moving closer to the North Pole. So where was Angela Brown Burke, when officers were ambushed and murdered? In East Kingston, when they killed Hernandez and the other police officer during the Tivoli incursion. Where was the outrage when criminals rape little girls, beheaded mothers, or slaughter entire families? Absent, silent, always silent. But let one gunman get shot by the police in a legitimate confrontation, shootout, and these people rush to the podium to cry, "Justice!" Yes, this is when them love informer. This is when Angela Brown Burke and the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization love informer. Them a tell her all along say informer for dead. But when it come on to them now witnessing anything to do with the police, they are not informers, they are good citizens. But when their criminals commit crimes and them are informer for dead. Not justice for victims. These people not interested in justice for victims. Not justice for police widows. Justice for thugs. They cry for Shemar Riley, a man who allegedly fired at police officers, but not a word for the brave men and women in uniform who lay down their lives daily for Jamaica. Why? Because the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization is not a voice of the poor or for the poor. They are enemies of the poor. They are enemies of the single mothers trying to raise her son without gunshots in the night. The elderly man running a shop who refuses to pay extortion money. The police officer in Spanish Town, Trench Town, Rockfort, Huntsby, Hargostown, risking their lives and limb for a better tomorrow. These politicians don't want to fight crime. They want to manage it, control it, benefit from it. The ultimate betrayal, a party that glorifies criminal legacy. This is the same organization that rewarded the daughter of a criminal Don with a seat in Parliament. Paid protester on April 29 to march against the police in Half a Tree. And this happened on April 29, 2025. Funded Jamaican for Justice, a group now proven to be a PR arm of the criminal underworld, masquerading as a human rights group. Shieldons, drug lords and pedophiles, rear admirals with legal loopholes and international lobbying. The PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization is not just soft on crime, it's married to crime. I will tell you that. It's the only political entity where criminality and crime is not a liability, it's a resume. If you have nothing, so when you have put in your application to the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, just like Danishka Williams, she just puts in my father is Danai Williams, boop, she approve. No background check, nothing, because her father a criminal. Not because he's not convicted of a crime, but he's responsible for so many deaths. Blood, even Valentine the man, looking at your blood are streaming through his eyes, and ghosts is behind him. But he will suffer before he dies. They think that they are gods, and they feel as if they're supreme, and they're superior to others because they can call, just make a phone call, and whoever they want killed is erased. Silence. Every Jamaican who still believes in decency, discipline and dignity, the time to be passive over. This is no longer politics, this is war. A war for the soul of our nation. Reject Angela Brown Burke and the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal dynasty. Reject every politician from the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization who defend killers but demonize cops. Reject every lie they sell about justice while they finance disorder and celebrate depravity. We must return to the values of truth, justice and law enforcement. That begins by rejecting these enemies of the people and exposing them for what they are. Enemies of the poor, enemies of the police, enemies of Jamaica. So some people would think that, oh, you just hate Angela Brown Burke. I don't know her to hate her. The only thing I know that she's the daughter of Tony Brown. How do I know that? I have spoken to her first cousin, Tony Brown's nephew, who's from Rockfort. I have spoken with criminals too who know Tony Brown and know that Angela Brown Burke is the daughter of Tony Brown. If she wants to denounce her father as a decent and ethical Jamaican will do, instead of digress and tell lies, it's just simple. As a child, I could not choose who my father, my parents. I came into this world because of God's love and God's mercy. Whatever my father did in the past, that's wrong. I do not celebrate, revere, or laud such behavior because what he did was violating other people's rights. I am a total different person. She has never done that and she will never do that. What she will do is digress and tell lies that Ralph Brown is her father. He's not. So we at the Jamaica Young Police Channel, I am exposing the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, enemy of poor, defender of killers. Jamaicans, open your eyes and listen carefully. What you're about to hear is not conspiracy, not gossip, not theater. This is the truth, raw and unfiltered. Yes, the truth. The PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization is not a political party. It is not an advocate for the poor. It is not a group fighting for the betterment of Jamaican society. It is a cartel masked in orange, hidden behind podiums and press conferences, but operating with the same cold heart and violent machinery as the Dons who terrorize our communities. Let us call it what it is. An enemy of law-abiding citizens. A sworn foe of the security forces. A safe haven for killers, rapers, extortionists, dons, gunmen, scammers, drug dealers, and rear admirals who violate every code of morality, decency, truth, and humanity. So you are about to hear a recording of Member of Parliament Angela Brown Burke, a woman sitting in Parliament, making laws, drawing taxpayers' money. Yet she's the daughter of one of Jamaica's most wanted men, Anthony Tony Tiger Brown, a criminal warlord who spread terror. Yes, this man spread terror, bloodshed and fear across Jamaica from the late 1970s.
From the People's National Party Media Unit.
This morning, I received the devastating news that a young man from our community, Shemar Riley, just 20 years old and a resident of York Avenue, Kingston 11, was killed during an incident involving police officers. I want to extend my deepest condolences to his family, friends, and the entire community. Shemar was known to many as a young man of good character, and I fully support the community's call for a full and transparent investigation into the circumstances of his death. This loss is even more painful because as a community, we have been working hard to build stronger and more positive relationships with the police to make our neighborhood safer for everyone. Today, I urge every eyewitness to reach out to Indicom and provide a statement. Your voice matters. Your truth matters. We must work together to ensure that Shemar's death is not brushed aside and that the full facts are brought to light. I stand with the family and with the residents of York Avenue. We will grieve together. We will demand justice together. Shemar's life mattered, and he deserves nothing less.
So there it is. That's Angela Brown Burke, the daughter of one of Jamaica's most wanted men, Anthony Tony Tiger Brown, a criminal warlord who spread terror, bloodshed, and fear across Jamaica from the late 1970s to 1993. When he returned to Jamaica, corrupt police officers at CIB headquarters collected money, and they execute the warrant, the warrant, and they claim that they could not find the witnesses, in which the witnesses are alive. I'm not going to say where the witnesses are. The witnesses are alive. I know one of the witnesses personally. Know him from a little youth I grew up. So, is this the Jamaica we want? Where the children of murderers and outlaws are handed power, while the children of law-abiding citizens are handed struggle, poverty, and silence. Where if them say, talk and dead and shut your mouth and live. Angela Brown Burke is not an exception. She is the blueprint. She is what the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization builds. A dynasty of criminals and their offspring rising to power through blood, loyalty, not merit. These are not public servants. They are public parasites. Black versus Blue, the symbolic war on April 29, 2025. Mark the date, April 29, 2025. That was the day the mask came off. The real Jamaicans, the men, the women, children who believe in truth, justice, and the rule of law, wore blue in solidarity with our brave men and women of the Jamaica Constabulary Force and the Jamaica Defence Force. Those who support rapists, killers, dons, and extortionists, they wore black. They marched not for justice, but for injustice. They weren't standing for victims. They were dancing on the graves of victims and leading that charade. Yes, man. Michael Jackson of Jamaican for Justice, which become nothing more than a PR department of the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization syndicate. And after, they paid the protesters $1,500, robbed the protesters of $8,500, because they know that people who are from the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, they have no values, no ethics, no decency, no love for humanity. These are the worst of the worst within our society. I am from the belly of the beast. And some people say, oh, you escape, Chris. No, it's not escape. It's about parenting and the community and the people that you choose to be around. If you lie with dogs, you will get flea. So let's be clear. These were paid protesters, buzzing and handed cash after they finished working, standing in the sun. And you see them. It's in a video that we have released earlier. Bussing and handed cash after the demonstration, all funded by the same corrupt criminal elite hiding in Parliament. Jamaican for Justice was caught in the hack. Jamaicans standing in line beside the Jamaican for Justice, branded vehicle, sign a clipboard, then collecting money. The excuse? Oh, transportation stipend. Yeah, transportation stipend. No, that's blood money to buy silence and manufacture outrage. The party of immorality, depravity, and darkness. Where was Angela Brown Burke when police officers were ambushed and killed? Where was her voice when women were raped by gunmen? Where was the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization when communities cried out for help against the dons and extortionists bleeding them dry? Every single time, silent. Because their loyalty is not to the people, it's to the criminal enterprise. They will never defend the police because they fear the police. The police are the only barrier standing between the Jamaican people and the full-scale criminal takeover. Everything they touch is corrupted. Justice, they twist it. Chief Justice Brian Legacy, Marva McDonald Bishop, and I can go on and on. Truth, they bury it. Inform of the dead. They don't want people to speak the truth. Morality, they mocked it. Their version of social justice is defending the criminals and blaming the police. Their version of progress is rewarding the children of dons with political power. That's why Angela Brown Burke is a member of parliament. And Danishka Williams is running to become a member of parliament in the PMP LGBTQ plus criminal organization. Their vision for Jamaica is one where the poor stay poor, the killers get rich, and the law is a joke. Enough is enough. Reject the criminal politics. We as Jamaicans are tired of the lies, tired of the excuses, tired of being treated like fools by political gangs that call itself a party. This is a national emergency, not a crime, but a political treason. If you truly love this country, if you care about the safety of our children, if you want a future where hard work is rewarded and not criminality, then reject the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization with every ounce of your being. Vote against them in the next election. Expose them, denounce them, and stand in blue for law, for order, for truth, and for justice, and for decency. Because the war for Jamaica's soul is not being fought in the streets, it's being fought in parliament, and the criminals are already inside. Angela Brown Burke defends alleged gunman killed by police, but where was she when the police were murdered? Jamaicans don't be fooled by the crocodile tears and political choreograph outrage by Angela Brown Burke and her criminal-friendly comrades in the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization. The latest drama comes in the form of a press release filled with fake concern from Angela Brown Burke is now calling for a full investigation into the fatal shooting of 20-year-old Shemar Riley, a known figure in York Avenue, Kingston 11. A man who, according to the police, engaged law enforcement in a gun battle. Let's call it what it is, an open attempt to vilify the police and canonize the criminal. This is how it is in the ghetto. I say I was born and raised in the belly of the beast. The first two things they told me as a young man, and I can remember, every police is dead and every labor right. What kind of philosophy is that? What kind of culture? Police and labor rights are Jamaicans. That's the reason why I denounce the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization. That is not love, that is hatred. I don't want to go with hatred. No wonder why it's only 2 of us on my age group from Jonestown still alive. Everyone else, Maypen Cemetery, Dovecat, or some cemetery somewhere else in the world, dead. Let's call it what it is, an attempt to vilify the police and canonize the criminal. This is not the first time the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, Cabal, has jumped to the defense of someone accused of attacking the security force. In fact, It's a part of their standard operating procedure. Paint the gunman as a saint and the police as murderers. Angela Burke, whose own father, Anthony Tony Tiger Brown, was one of Jamaica's most feared criminals and most wanted man from the 1970s through 1993, has now become the public relations officer for criminal element masquerading as a member of parliament. A party that cries for criminals but stays silent for police. Let's ask this. Where was Angela Burke's compassion when police officers were ambushed, gunned down, or burnt alive in the line of duty? Where were her tears for the widows, fatherless children, motherless children left behind by murdered gunmen? Why has not one member of the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization ever marched for a slain soldier or police officer? You will never see one of these politicians a member of the security forces funeral. I don't know how these people vote for them, because they don't care, because they're ideologically and culturally aligned with the same criminal underworld that is undermining our communities, murdering our youth, and destabilizing our country. On May 29, 2025, the lines were clearly drawn in Jamaica. Those who wore blue stood with the police, justice and national security. Those who wore black stood with the murderers, rapists, dons, extortionists, and wicked. And guess who was out there in black? Jamaican for justice. Michael Jackson. Big broad face woman, like, you understand? The street team of the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization handing out cash to pay protesters, all to demonize the police and glorify a man who fired shots at lawmen. A life of indoctrination. My story from Jonestown, Concrete Jungle, Kingston 12. As someone who grew up in Jonestown, the belly of the beast, I can tell you firsthand, the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization has never built anything honorable. They breed criminals, not citizens. They build gangs, not communities. I remember as a little boy hearing it on the corner. Every police must dead. Every laborite must die. That was the ideology of terror planted by the PNP in the hearts and mind of young, impressionable boys. It was never about education, empowerment, or peace. It was about guns, violence, and loyalty to a bloodstained banner. Now, decades later, what has changed? Absolutely nothing. The children of gunmen are MPs, and the criminals are still protected and elevated. We must stop pretending that this is normal. This is democracy. This is politics. This is a criminal syndicate masquerading as a political movement. If we as a people continue to support the PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization, then we are complicit in our own destruction. We are voting for more bloodshed, more chaos, more cover-ups. Angela Burke's so-called grief is nothing more than strategic sympathy for someone who picked up a gun against the police. It is disgraceful. It is dishonorable. It is a direct slap in the face of every police officer who wear the badge with pride and risk their life daily to defend the people of this country. Let the country know that we support the police officers and the security force in Jamaica. Let us be clear. Shemar Riley made a choice, and that choice came with consequences. The PNP LGBTQ plus criminal organization continues to defend criminals, not victims. The only investigation they support is the one that can spin the narrative to make the criminals look like heroes and the police look like villains. We will not stand for it. Not today, not ever again. Angela Brown Burke is a fraud, and she's a benefactor of her father's criminality. The blood of the victims of her father is now on her shoulders. You can't escape the wrath of God for the people that your father has murdered, and now you're coming out defending a killer, Shemar Riley, that he's an innocent and upstanding young man. Give me a break. Have yourself a beautiful day. Jamaica Young Police Channel out.